All right, so we've gone over where Greece is. Now we're going to actually get into the history of ancient Greece. What you see here is the PowerPoint that we're going to keep track of all our vocabulary in throughout the chapter. So if you look, so we have chapter 1, 2, there's going to be 10, or through the unit, there's going to be 10 chapters that we read through. Each chapter has its own set of vocabulary. So chapter 1, it's going to be all these red pages. This red tab will be in the front. So you can see we have 8 words. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then, if you go to slide 10 here, maybe if I can get there, see how this changes to orange? It is now chapter 2. I will enter the words into this document as you go through. So we're going to just work with chapter 1 right now. And what you will see, let me pull up your student copy. Oh, I put it in a different folder. So when you get this, as it loads, what you will see on the pages further down in, if it'll load, see this little link up here in the corner? So when I tell you to go link your link, this is where you'll go. Leave this linked because then I can send you changes. So like I'm not going to change chapter 1, but you saw the rest of the chapters don't have their vocabulary in them yet. So what you're going to do on these vocabulary slides is you're going to click where it says click here to type. You're going to delete click here to type and type in the definition or the variations or examples, and then you're going to write the definition in your own words. So you'll do this for all 8 words. As we go through the presentation, you will see the definition to these. So you'll need to use this as we're learning. So this is the piece, we'll use this all 10 chapters. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation today. Let's see how this lined up. Close enough. All right, so ancient Greece and the Greek city-states. So that's what we're looking at as the city-states. So our vocabulary for all right, our standards for today. The civilization that developed in Greece and Rome had an enduring impact on later civilizations. This legacy includes governance and law, engineering and technology, art and architecture, as well as literature and history. The Roman Empire played an instrumental role in the spread of Christianity. We're also going to look at different geographic factors that promote or impede the movement of people, products, and ideas. And Greek democracy and Roman Republic in the Roman Republic were radical departures from monarchy and theocracy, influencing the structure and function of modern governments, modern democratic governments. So by the end of this whole unit, this is what you should be able to do. You should be able to explain who the Greek people were, how the land affected them, and how their government affected even what we do today. So the Greek city-states. So what different forms of government were adopted by various city-states? So we're going to look at the forms of government today. In your slideshow, I want you to go ahead and move these images around. You're going to have to go into the edit, move these images around, and put them in the appropriate spot on the timeline. Pause your video and come back when you're done. All right, here's your vocabulary for today. We have city-state. It's a noun. A city that is independent is an independent political state with its own ruling government. Example, Athens was a powerful Greek city-state. Variations, you might see it as city-states, plural. Asia Minor, noun, a peninsula in southwestern Asia. Today, most of this area is the country of Turkey. Example, trade routes linked Asia Minor with other regions. There are no variations for this because it is a proper noun. It's the name of a subcontinent area. All right, so a great civilization. In Greece, many people believed that the Greek civilization was the greatest civilization. Um, but it wasn't a single civilization. Greece was made up of a collection of independent city-states, meaning there were a bunch of small groups together. So the word for city-state was poli. So if you hear with the words like metropolis or there's a couple different, and in here we talk about um, that's on another slide. So a typical poli would have included a town or small city and the farmlands surrounding it. Most Greek city-states had a population of no more than 20,000 and covered an area of only 100 or so square miles. So it's like a city, but it was its own independent area. It ruled itself. So it was like something like Columbus, but it ruled itself. It didn't answer to Ohio. It didn't answer to a greater group. It was just its own state. By 500 BCE, dozens of these cities-states existed, mainly along the shore of the Aegean. Well, keep that in mind. These were mainly along the sea. Why do you think that? Keep that in your mind. We'll get there. Most were located in present-day Greece, but were scattered along the coast of Asia Minor. So remember, we talked about that peninsula in our vocabulary. On our map, if you go look where Turkey is, you'll see where Asia Minor was, and on the shore or the shores of the Black Sea in southern Italy and northern Africa. So you can see here, Asia Minor is like right here. I want you to use the shape tool, pick any color you want, put a circle around where Greece is, Asia Minor, the Aegean Sea, the Black Sea, southern Italy, northern Africa, and Crete. This will help you start to get your mind wrapped around where everything is. Pause your video, come back when you're done with that. So there's some really cool geography, or not this isn't geography, really cool artwork that came out of Greece. So this is a Greek fresco known as the Troador and was found on the Greek island of Crete. The ancient Greeks produced beautiful art and architecture. So we find things like this all the time. All right. In Greece, they believed in multiple gods and goddesses. They were not a monotheistic, a polytheistic society, meaning they believed in multiple gods. So here are some. So we have Zeus, who is the sky and thunder god and rules as king over the mountain Olympus. He was kind of the king of kings. He ruled them all. Hera was the goddess of women. Marriage, family, childbirth, sister, and wife of Zeus. Apollo was the god of archery, music and dance, truth and prophecy, healing and disease, the sun and light, poetry, and more. He was kind of god of like everything. And he was one of Zeus's sons. Poseidon was the god of the sea, and storms and earthquakes and horses, and he is Zeus's brother. And Aphrodite was the goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, passion, and procreation. So these were all important features in their life. And as we go through the different lessons, you're going to see them come back repeatedly. They were really critical pieces of who these Greek city-states were. So the city-states had things in common. They all spoke Greek, although they had different dialects. Even if you go around the U.S., we call people different things. So we use different words. They use different words. That's just what it was. The Greeks referred to non-Greek speakers as barbarians. And it came from the word barbaros, which means to babble. So when people spoke, the Greeks could only hear meaningless syllables that sounded to them like bar, bar, bar. So they made a word that sounded like that. They were also unified by religion. They all worshipped this set of Greek gods. We had, Zeus and Apollo and Poseidon and Hera and Aphrodite and Athena and Hades and Eros. And there are a whole bunch of gods, and we'll learn more and more about them. They all worshipped them, and they told myths and stories of their adventures and built temples to honor them. They were the central part of their life. They also came together for athletic competitions like the Olympic Games, just like we have today. The Olympic Games are based in the history of the ancient Greek Olympic Games. But each city-state was still unique. Just like each state and each city has its own personality, each city-state was unique even up to how they governed themselves. Um, they had their own traditions, legends, local heroes. They worshipped a handful of local gods along with the big central gods. Um, this is a sculpted wall called a frieze, and it can be found on the Parthenon in Athens. It depicts the assembly of gods from left to right. You can see Poseidon, Apollo, and Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. So they were all together, and there were pictures and built into the buildings of their gods all over the city, or all over the country and cities. All right, answer these following questions. What was a pulley? What things did ancient Greek city-states have in common, and how was each Greek city-state unique? You'll answer these in your PowerPoint. Pause the video and come back when you're done. Here's our next set of vocabulary for different governments. We have tyranny. It's a noun, a type of government in which one person illegally seizes all power, usually ruling in a harsh and brutal way, a dictatorship. Many people suffered under the tyranny of the Greek city-state of Corinth. So a variation is you're going to see the pluralized tyrannies. Aristocracy is a noun, the upper or noble class whose member status is usually inherited. Members of the aristocracy were often considered to be the most qualified to rule and make decisions in ancient Greece. Variations: aristocracies, an aristocrat is the noun of what we would call someone in the aristocracy, or aristocratic is if we're describing something about and it was like this. It's our adjective. Oligarchy is a noun. It's a government controlled by a small group of people made up of aristocratic and wealthy non-aristocratic families. Example, the oligarch did not understand the concerns of the population. So then we have the variations, oligarchies and oligarch. So the oligarch is the noun. That is the person who is leading. Democracy is a noun. In ancient Greece, a form of government in which the male citizens held ruling power and made decisions. In modern times, a form of government in which citizens choose their leaders by vote. So example, the U.S. government is a democracy because Americans vote to elect their leaders. So you're going to see democracies as a plural. You could see democratic. And that's talking about the style of government, not the political party. We have a monarchy as a noun, a government led by king or queen. The British monarchy has changed over the years. So Great Britain is still ruled by a monarchy. They have the Queen of England and her family. They are the monarchs. So we have monarchies and monarch. Assembly, noun. A group of people in ancient Greece, the assembly made laws. So the assembly held a debate about the proposed law. This would be like our city council or our state senate or House of Representatives or Congress. This assembly is a group of people that comes together to make those laws.